Twisted Thoughts and Lessons by Erica Feinberg-Fugelberg, human dynamics, automation, and communications specialist and founder of Biz Visualized. 10 lessons that help you create your personal owner's manual and nav your journey. Driving life lessons. Mastering your dunk. 10 lessons that drive everything in life. The gift that keeps on giving for a lifetime. This is our gift to you. We appreciate you, and we're in this together. These lessons fuel our business philosophies at Biz Visualized. We hope you find this da-dunk method life-altering for you and everyone around you, now and forever. Since life is all about sharing your unique magic with the world in just the right way and always doing your best to enhance the lives you touch, we hope you and this book and being a passenger in our vehicle during this journey to be an extraordinary experience and continuously exciting wherever we go. Enjoy. Dedication. This book is dedicated to every ambitious human out there who craves lifetime learning and creating innovations and ventures that enhance lives for others. May our paths crossing represent the most eye-opening, exciting, and pivotal times of your journey from this moment on. Special thanks, with gushing appreciation, to my inner circle, my lovable rock of a hubby, and our 2 amazing children, who I'm honored and thrilled to have in my life, along with their stupendous choices of passengers. Erica and Mom. Driving life lessons. Mastering your dunk. 10 lessons that drive everything in life. Lesson prep on your mark. 10 rules of your road they don't teach in driving school. If you look at it, how you learn, how you drive, how you feel about driving, how you might survive without driving, what you do with a vehicle, it all involves fundamentals that can rock your journey. Once you soak in every word of these lessons, you'll notice that you smile more. You will. You'll also notice that when things get tough, you'll naturally see it for what it is and handle it better. You'll live more consciously. You might even treat people nicer than you ever had, or simply have more empathy and tolerance for very difficult and complex people who cross your path. As a CEO and mom, I found myself doing something to develop better leadership, relationship development, and communication skills. I didn't realize what I was doing until one day I was in my car, following Nav, to get to a meeting. I knew there was a scenic back road I could take, so instead of following the suggested route, I took that turn onto the back road. The nav system made that familiar da-dunk sound and immediately came up with an alternate route to my destination. It was in that moment, this da-dunk theory, and this book came flooding into my brain. The pages ahead will spell out a way of experiencing life that I highly recommend for an endless number of endless reasons. Navigation knew where I wanted to go and applied relevant criteria to get me there, without judgment and without freaking out. It's one thing to behave, comply, and listen to Nav. It's another to know when and where to veer off course, now and then. Each one of us is here for unique reasons, and we spend a lifetime, literally, trying to figure out why we're here and what we're supposed to be doing. You know what motivated me to write this book? You did! I didn't realize how many of my life philosophies rolled around the whole concept of driving, technology innovations, and the mechanics behind it. These 10 lessons have been the magic formula behind my leadership style as a CEO, as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, as a sister, as an auntie, and as a daughter, and as the designated driving instructor for our kids. I also didn't realize how much our kids were impacted during their driving lessons. Both of our kids are in their 20s now, and we laugh talking about the life lessons they learned during their driving lessons that carried through. Now, it's your turn. I've always lived my life looking at it as a screenplay and recognizing that each one of us is a character that has been written into it for their own unique reasons. It's almost as if I was cast in a movie, and I'm behind the wheel of a clean-fuel Koenigsegg, a high-performance freak of nature that was specifically engineered for me. It takes me on a ride that is a mixture of where I want to go, combined with what crosses my path along the way. We all play our own unique part in this world of ours, and we also drive our own variation of vehicle. When you're out there on the road, it's utterly important for you to do your best to fit in and go with the flow. But it's equally as utterly important for you to drive your unique flavor of you out there and to cause smiles. You get taught all types of things through your generational DNA and your driving lessons, but you might notice that no matter what and how you're taught, you do you. Some of you is glorious and some of you needs some work. It's all shapeable. The choices you make every minute of every day are totally up to you. Your hands are on your personal steering wheel. I honestly hope that whether you're ultra successful and evolved, or if you're climbing out of multi-generational darkness, you love this book and it makes all the difference, fast and for the long haul. You can break bad habits pretty quickly. Bad habits run deep and they are passed down, but they are certainly not genetic. These habits are ways of thinking that can be reprogrammed. So, let's get to it. Lesson prep, get set, go. Thankfully, my kids don't drive like I do. I'm a race car driver and I love off-roading. My hubby and our kids are all conservative drivers and they don't jaywalk. Who are you when you get behind the wheel? Who are you when it comes to caring for your vehicle? Hubby and I bought each of our kids a Nissan Altima shortly after each of them passed their driving tests, and a few years later, it just so happened one of our kids was moving to Brooklyn and the other was moving to Chicago around the same time. It was time for each of them to sell the cars. As we were cleaning up the cars for sale, we learned a lot about them by the condition of each of the cars. One of the cars was like new, and even still smelled new. The other car looked and smelled like it was driven into and lived in a swamp for a few years. We invited the kids over to look at the before comparisons of each of the cars. I encouraged each of them to reflect on the condition of their car, the cost of cleanup, and the resale values. Then I asked, what are you most proud of, and what does this tell you? And how do you think this could help you drive your next chapters in the best possible light? The clean kid responded surprised, assuming everyone would cherish a gift and privilege like this. The other kid seemed horrified and vowed not to be that person from that day on. My plan worked. The concept of reflecting on your life by looking at it like an outsider in a sense seems to work. Since then, we all melded in some ways. As adults, we all live by similar rules at the core. Our household created our own unique familial DNA chain. We're all fun overachievers. We appreciate and care for all things. We reflect as we go. We self-correct as we go, like GPS reroutes when it needs to, and we all smile a lot. Somehow, I was the driving teacher. On the surface, each of the four of us are quite different from one another. Very different. We meld in a way that I define as mechanical genius. We each contribute our own enriching ingredients to our collective fuel as a family. Have you noticed that in any group situation, if any one person is contributing a toxin into the collective fuel, that one toxin can cause everything to break down for everyone? What type of nutrients or toxins do you bring to the collective fuel? I'm high octane, but ironically, the more you get to know about me, the funnier you'll think it is that I was the driving instructor. My teenage brother taught me how to drive when I was 12, on the back roads of Greenwich, Connecticut. Before you knew it, I was illegally driving him to Leonard's Eco Farm in Westport, Connecticut every Saturday. I started teaching my kids at the proper age of 15. We started out driving backward in a parking lot, and I also had them parking backward before they ever drove forward. By the time they got around to learning how to drive forward, life was a breeze. I would also occasionally drive like me with them in the car and tell them, never do that. Or I'd drive and they'd take over the wheel from the passenger side. I've been very unconventionally coaching and challenging our kids and everyone around me for as long as I can remember. Let me know how you turn out after this. Lesson 1, decide to do it or not. Turn the key, this is where everything starts. When you decide to get in, buckle up and take the wheel of your life fully awake and fully aware, then you're ready. Just like driving, living well means making conscious choices, adjusting your route when needed, and understanding that you steer the whole journey. Once you've decided what you're going to do or not do, you need to drive that decision with no regrets. And know there's a big difference between going all in and having the pedal to the metal. We'll get into that in a little bit. Some would argue that some decisions happen way before the womb. No matter what's true, it's best to stay awake and make decisions today that feed your best life. And bring your best to others as well. And actively practice living a blame-free and excuse-free life. It is what it is because of you. Obstacles and challenges pass. Once a decision is made, you'll see how all 10 lessons come into play at the same time, like a 10-armed octopus with one very well-developed brain in the middle of it all. No matter how life and death something is, if you apply a formula to it in just the right way, you can master navigating through almost anything just fine. Some people slide into driving with no decision anxiety with only one thought on their mind. It is what it is. By the way, "It is what it is" one of the best quotes I've ever heard from my dad's mouth when I turned to him for advice during a very tough life experience. I think he used this phrase throughout my entire childhood, but I didn't hear it until this particularly tough situation I had to deal with in my life as an adult. He was 90 years old. He also assured me that it'll pass. When he said those two sentences, which are the only two sentences he said, I felt a huge sense of relief. Almost immediately, I can write a whole book about him, but I worked some of his goodies into these lessons. Life is a mixture of what we create and the things others create as you cross paths with them every day. Whenever you make a choice, it sets your path and often becomes something that affects others and vice versa. These things evoke emotions and actions. The way you choose to react and feel is always 100% up to you and up to them. Some people slide into driving with no decision anxiety. It is what it is. You can always change your mind later, but in the meantime, you have to live your best life and make decisions based on your primal needs and your ever-changing ego needs. You should always include thoughts as to how your decisions will affect others, because after all, we're in this together. A decision to commit to something in life is not much different from deciding to drive. Like I said, in different words above, it's one thing to fully commit to your decision so you do it right, and it's another thing to dive into something at full speed, recklessly. Making a decision, then finding that balance that enables your internal navigation system to uncover the best way to move forward with it, is the key to making great decisions. Sometimes you can put the pedal to the metal during wide-open straightaways, but you need to look ahead, learn how to slow down to navigate the curves, and how to react to surprises that leap out at you or that roll into you. It happens in split seconds. Preparation, decision, action. Driving is dangerous, but most of us decide to learn how because it's a natural progression and a part of life, and because of the upsides. Some people are too cool to drive, can't, don't need to, or simply don't want to. Some of the reasons we choose to drive or do anything in life: freedom, quality of life, exploration, time with friends and social stuff, to get to and from work, make a living, video game training. Then there are some reasons behind why we don't drive. Fear. No money, no interest. You can't for some reason. Found ways to live without it. You were going to learn and do it, then you got high. Whatever you do or don't do, it's important to always actively remember that your way is not the way. Everyone has their own unique criteria and journey, and it's ever evolving. Whatever you do or don't do, it's important to always actively remember that your way is not the way. Everyone has their own unique criteria and journey, and it's ever evolving. This driving thing can be lumped into generational DNA. We drive because our ancestors did, or we don't drive because our ancestors didn't drive. How we drive and how we exist within the entire driving world is also often influenced by our generational DNA, where we live, trends in technology and society, and our culture. On the other hand, there's always someone inside the generational DNA chain who lives to break the chain. That was me. I believe everything around us drives us to who we are. It forces us to grow up and pay attention, interact with the world in our own unique way, and it influences how we manage navigating around people and life. Some of us, like me, get in the car and drive out of town to that place we've been dreaming of. For some, it's a chore, for some, it's a blast, some are ambivalent, and some don't bother. Some love it and may blow the opportunity because of bad choices, like getting a DUI or 3. Some have disabilities like seizures, vision issues, or a broken neck in a J-collar. Yes, Aaron, I had to throw that in. And some people just can't drive for one reason or another. When you can't do it for some reason, you have to adjust your brain so life goes on. If you're someone who is driving or getting out there scooting around, the next time you open the door to get in the vehicle, pay attention to what you are thinking at that very moment. Whatever you're thinking at the moment you're entering a vehicle says quite a lot about who you are at the core. Let me know what you learn about yourself with this exercise. There was a point in which we had to encourage my dad not to drive anymore, and we had to sell the fancy red sports car he loved. My mom said, "This is going to kill him." Could you imagine what flooded through my twisted brain at that moment? I had to dunk and think of a plan that wouldn't kill him. I painted a picture for my dad of what it would be like to have all the freedom to keep getting out into the world with no stress, safely, and to be chauffeured around. It worked. He gave up the keys and he was fine. Someday you might be reading this in a world where ride shares and autonomous vehicles are the norm, and we lose the chance to get to learn these lessons in real life with real-world friction and all the emotions that come with it. You just get in, and you're driven or flown. Before autonomous transportation becomes a full-blown reality, if you're crazy and you might harm others, you shouldn't be driving, but some do. In the end, we all share the road, and we have to deal with the consequences together. In every culture, some are better at navigating situations and emotions than others. I don't understand how anyone can get into a car angry. If you do, please tell me why, and consider a dunk. Vehicles and the way we are able to travel are brilliant innovations and such profound privileges. We are also blessed to have things like navigation technology. It's so easy to wake up and go to sleep angry and upset about all the bad things that roll into your path. Do you gravitate toward grouchy over gratitude or in awe of what is? What's your natural gravitational pull? Let's circle back to nav. Iter Avto created the first vehicle navigation system out of paper maps that were connected to the vehicle's speedometer in 1930. Avto's innovation excited an endless number of very bright people to contribute bigger and better ideas every year thereafter. This turned into an entire worldwide industry involving several million people commuting to their exciting GPS-related jobs. Then, this vehicle navigation innovation inspired the military to develop vehicle navigation systems that have helped save billions of lives, and it has helped keep us safe to this day. Keep in mind what else nav does for us. 1. It allows us to get out. 2. It allows us to veer off course with less fear. It enables us to proactively find alternate routes so we can avoid obstacles in our journey. Please let stories like this take over your brain. No trash talking allowed, especially to yourself. Do you see how the stories you choose to play in your head can constructively distract you onto a better path in life? No matter what type of friction might be rubbing against you in other areas of life, you can't go wrong when you put on a great song, put your awe glasses on, and get moving with you, and everything around you in mind. Do you see how you manage your stories and where you decide to take yourself every day defines your life? This is what Lesson 1 is all about. We're constantly making decisions about what to do and what not to do. These decisions drive all of life's pivotal moments. If you decide to do it, make sure you're paying attention, taking it seriously, and doing it well. You are the one who decides how good you are at driving, and your decisions affect others too. As a mom, it was terrifying for me to watch our kids, as new drivers, zoom off with their friends to who knows where, to do who knows what. This was far scarier for me than watching them leave the coop for college. It seems this huge leap of driving off into this scary world as a teenager gets overlooked in the scheme of things. It's a big decision with a complexity of risks, healthy friction, and benefits. This is life. This decision invites a mix of excitement and trepidation. On one hand, driving grants independence and the thrill of adventure. On the other, it comes with responsibilities, such as how you respond to a bird crashing into your windshield without a flinch. There you go, Marissa. Without crashing your parents' car. Much like the journey of life, the decision to drive involves weighing options and considering outcomes. For instance, choosing to take the wheel can represent a leap of faith, a commitment to navigate through the complexities of adulthood. However, not every road is straight or well lit. Some decisions may lead to unexpected detours, much like that time you accidentally drove the wrong way on a one-way street. In life, as in driving, it's essential to adapt, recalibrate, slow down, and sometimes just laugh at the absurdity of it all while taking it seriously, because it can injure and kill you and others. The choice to drive mirrors the biggest decisions we make in life. It makes you part of the collective and responsible, reminding you that your actions may reflect on more than yourself in your decisions. It embodies the balance between freedom and responsibility. Just as a driver must obey traffic signals, individuals must heed the lessons life offers. Sometimes, the best course of action involves your gut when you randomly decide to take the scenic route, even if it includes a few hairpin turns and a cheesy soundtrack. In essence, whether you decide to drive or not, remember that both choices shape your journey. So buckle up, keep your hands on the wheel, and don't forget to enjoy the ride. Appreciate innovations like nav, GPS, accident avoidance, dash cams, autopilot, autonomous vehicles, no matter what you decide. How would you define yourself in light of Lesson 1? Did you decide to get driving, and what were you feeling? Have you reflected on the dream vibe of your life? Has this helped gamify the way you see life at all yet? Most people never think too much about this, but they see parallels and smile. I sure hope that moved the needle for you a little bit. And I also hope you see things in a whole new light by the end of Lesson 10. Now that you've made your decision to get in the driver's seat, let's look at the rules that help you navigate through life safer and better. Lesson 2, there's rules. Some rules are tacit, while other signs are right in front of your face. I'll start with a hint. If you watch some of the craziest intersections in the world featured on our website, the emotions you go through in watching those videos will help make this chapter hit home. Those emotions sum up who you are right now. That's learned. Your decisions around your thoughts and feelings are where you can drive change. The deeper we dig into these lessons, the more you'll appreciate the concept of we're all in this together, and how our feelings and actions are wholeheartedly dependent on our generational DNA, our culture, our environment, our experience of friction and having to navigate through challenges, and who you meet and learn from along the way. Navigating an intersection is the ultimate lesson. We know the rules, we know where we want to go, so we do what it takes to stay safe and make it to our destination. Get to know the rules of the land wherever you're driving. Get to know what the signs mean before you get behind that wheel and hit the gas. No matter where you are in the world, some people follow the rules, some don't. Some people are sane, and some people are insane. We all have to live with the consequences and the benefits, and be in the right place at the right time with the right mindset. One of the biggest mistakes people make in their lives is when they're making decisions using outdated, irrelevant, or incorrect criteria. For instance, let's say you grew up in a small town. and you learn to stop every time you see a pedestrian step off the curb. That would be the proper things to do in small towns. But can you imagine if you applied that decision criteria in Boston or New York City? Navigating life's journey without proper decision criteria is like driving blindfolded. Exciting, perhaps, but you're likely to end up in a ditch. Imagine cruising foreign roads without nav, ignoring road signs, and dismissing traffic laws. You'd soon find yourself lost or in jail. Similarly, in life, establishing clear decision criteria, akin to setting your destination, following maps, and obeying community rules, ensures you stay on course and no one gets hurt. Just like rules keep changing over time, would you decide to sit at a red light if no one was coming and it was now legal to take a right turn on red? What if there was a sign that said no turn on red? Would you still make that turn? Life is no different. It's incredibly important for our brain to keep updating our decision criteria as our lives change, our environment changes, and as rules change. Choosing to hold on to old, wrong, or destructive decision criteria can surely lead you to a life of disaster, bad luck, and chaos. Your decision criteria are your life's navigation system. So buckle up, continuously keep your decision criteria aligned with your destination, and see where that takes you. There are different mixes of rule following, and whatever we practice, we believe is true, the way it is, and/or the way it should be. It runs so deep, we often act without consciously recognizing it's our unique thoughts controlling the wheel. For instance, there's a certain section of Shea Boulevard in Scottsdale, Fallard. I might drive over the speed limit. I know it's wrong, but somehow I don't think it's wrong because there are no major intersections. The road is very wide open, and there's not a lot of track on that stretch of road. No one is around, so I decided it's okay to speed there. You may think that's wrong. I might think you're too rigid, and it's not wrong. I might also agree with you, but I do it anyway. I may wake up and slow down there going forward, or I may allow my inner cruise control to steer my behaviors there, continuing to speed through that stretch of road. This brings us back to preparation, decision, action. It's always going on every second of our day, even while we sleep, but it all happens at different levels of consciousness. This sums up Eckhart Tolle's definition of wake up. I would define waking up as your ability to navigate and reroute your thoughts and habits as they are in action, in an effort to keep yourself on the best route possible without letting emotions or generational DNA get in the way of the best decisions you can make. Plus, remember, these decisions and actions are meant to keep you well guided while also most positively affecting the lives around you. Other factors come into play as well. I'm white and a fairly cute female. If I get pulled over, I think I could get out of the ticket. If I was a black male, maybe not as cute as me either, he might not speed anywhere because he fears the consequences of getting pulled over. I would agree with his judgment and reasoning, but I still wouldn't feel like that rule would apply so rigidly to me, and I'd continue to speed on that stretch of Shea Boulevard. How well we follow rules is definitely tied to consequences and context. Do you see what I mean? I just read this previous paragraph out loud to my husband, who works for Maricopa County Adult Probation. He reminded me that a lot of people do bad things, even though they're well aware of the consequences, and it's not unusual to see multiple generations committing the same crimes. Wherever you go in the world, there's always a percentage of the population who don't follow the rules, and they can give a crap about the consequences. So this circles back to this lesson of mastering the art of living a great life. You are who you are. You might jump on that criminal bandwagon, but I think each of us defines our own unique brand of rule following and our own brand of good luck safety bubble. Some of it is taught to us and passed down through the generations, and we then put our own unique twist on it. For instance, I'm a crazy driver and taught our kids how to drive, but they each have their own safe, calm, wonderful style of driving. One of the big secrets to success in driving and success in life requires mastering rule following and decision making in context, being in the right place at the right time with the right mindset, no matter who your role models have been, and no matter what is swirling around you. I call this developing your navigation filter, and this becomes the bubble you live in. By the way, I do hope that someday, that comment I made about a black male fearing getting pulled over doesn't make sense to anyone. But unfortunately, the reference makes sense at this time. So I used it to make the point. Do you see what I'm saying and understand what I mean about how context comes into play in our decision making? You'll laugh when you take a moment to reflect on who you are behind the wheel, or when you get into a vehicle and why, and that you can adjust behaviors if you wanted to, oddly, within split seconds. Rules are culturally and geographically influenced. It's wise to follow the rules, even if you think some rules are stupid. Rules always exist for some sort of historical reason, and whatever you decide, your choices determine what you and others experience every day. It's 100% about choices, everyone's choices. Actually, can you see how your choices about rules can even affect history and future rules for the generations ahead, especially as the world and technology continues to change? This is not a typo, I have to repeat. It's 100% about choices, your choices, and everyone's choices. Challenges can fly into us out of nowhere. No matter what your history or story, there are always things you can do that keep you safely and securely on cruise control. Marians, when I was giving the kids driving lessons, I ordered big car magnets from Vistaprint that said student driver. I wasn't sure how they'd feel about them, but much to my surprise, both our kids liked the car magnets. The signs helped them feel safe, protected, and understood. I was so impressed with how they processed the magnets. It could have gone either way. It helped them both trust the other drivers on the road would cut them some slack. I explained to them the importance of also letting other drivers know what their next move was going to be. I'd let the kids know our plan ahead of time, so by the time we hit the road, they knew what signals to use, how, and when. When people know you're a student driver, they'll either mess with you or stay away from you. We have to trust one another. We coexist, and we have to trust that we can handle what the world throws at us. Before there were cars, someone made up the saying, "You have to get back on that horse." Maybe I'll start the saying, "You have to get back behind that wheel." But since autonomous vehicles are underway, and some people don't drive, maybe I'll say, you have to get back out there and master the art of living and coexistence. That's the key to that phrase, living your best life. We're insanely dependent on one another, and we need to learn how to navigate around all the surprises we can't control. With that said, it's also important for us to learn tolerance, whether someone has a magnet on their car telling you something important or not. If someone does something that makes you have to slam on your brakes and it puts wear and tear on your car, you have to get over it and then keep on driving wiser versus driving angrier. Wisdom builds your good luck bubble. In our journey through life and driving, we must acknowledge that there are rules. Some are explicit, while others are more subtle and unspoken. While many of us strive to adhere to these rules, there are always a few who interpret them as mere suggestions. Could you imagine driving without rules? Why do we follow rules? And in what ways have you seen society put unwritten rules in place so we can all survive and thrive? If you can't think of any examples, think about those crazy intersections I brought up earlier. You'll see that society put the rules in place for those. Just as you're wise to stay alert while you drive, the same goes for the importance of staying alert at all times during your decision-making. This all happens in split seconds and almost continuously. Are you good at it? If you do your best to keep this decision-making stairway in mind, and combine that with your desired destination and your ability to stay awake while you're making decisions that support your journey to that destination, this all helps you live your best life, every step of the way. Imagine a stairway that leads to your good luck bubble. The first step involves identifying the decision you need to make. Then you gather information, then you identify your alternatives, then you weigh the evidence, then you choose among your alternatives, then you take action, then you review your decision. This all happens within split seconds, and the discipline and skill sets you use to climb that stairway and reflect on your actions at the top build wisdom, and this process defines the success of your journey. The climb up those stairs depends on your mind. It's what you do with your mind and body that matters most. We are all inherently dependent on one another in this journey, and learning to navigate the unpredictable landscape of everyday challenges is vital. You need to cultivate authentic tolerance for yourself and others, whether or not someone bears a student driver sign on their vehicle. If another driver cuts you off, the key is to remain calm, proceed thoughtfully, move on, and drive wiser. Practicing authentic tolerance is one on-road behavior that can absolutely bring you happier and more successful experiences of life. Sure, you can make it through some of the wildest intersections in the world, and you'll notice that rules normally make life a bit safer and easier to navigate, or not. Look at that video of Meskel Square in Ethiopia featured on our website. You'll see what I mean about how rules have to exist for us to coexist, and as each of us decides what rules to follow and what rules not to follow, this affects our experience of the world as a collective. Notice how the people make it across the seemingly impossible intersection. We assess our surroundings, and we get through it all, but with varying degrees of ease or difficulty. How you feel and act through chaos and wild experiences is 100% up to you. This is not a typo, I just want to repeat. How you feel and act through anything and everything is 100% up to you. It's learned and it's self-imposed. It's important to recognize that rules are influenced by cultural and geographical contexts. What is deemed appropriate in one place can kill you in another. While it is wise to follow the established rules, there are also some rules that can be baffling or even absurd. For example, some guidelines are codified in the driver's manual, while others are instinctively understood. Would you proceed just because a school bus stop sign is retracted, or would you also make sure the coast is clear of children? Of course, you'd wait for the clear coast, but that's not what the driver's test asks. The world of driving requires a lot of common sense and trust. In that case, you're assumed to be able to trust the school bus driver. Notice that no matter how black and white the rules are around anything you're in the middle of, you are the one in charge of the thousands of micro decisions that make up your experience and the outcomes of every situation. The road can provoke unexpected challenges, often presenting itself like a deer leaping into traffic. When others recognize that you are a student driver, they may react in one of two ways. Some might see you as an easy target for sinister mischief, while others will empathetically see you as a porcupine, fearing the pain of your quills if they get too close. Power to the porcupine. After all, every unexpected turn and near miss is simply an opportunity for growth, an invaluable lesson in both driving and life. You see how driving life and our interdependence of driving align? Lesson 3. You need to understand the vehicle you're driving and take care of it. Yeah, but what can I say right now that might surprise you and make all the difference to how you've been thinking about this? That's what I'm thinking. When I was a kid, I heard a religious leader say, "Our body is a gift from God, and it's our job to take the best care of it and return it to its sender in better shape than it was given to you." My first thought was, who is God, and what is this whole life thing about? Then it hit me. Everyone has their own interpretation of God and life and death. What matters is whether our thoughts, opinions, and actions feed our best life. Does how you treat yourself right now and everything you believe and do fuel your best life? This lesson sums up the secret to establishing a healthy relationship with yourself, living with clarity, and driving a successful life. Your life, your gas tank, your vehicle. This is where I'm going to ask you to create an owner's manual that defines you. There's a science behind the value of creating this for yourself. No matter who you are and how much you've accomplished in life, you get to know you better when you go through this Driving Life Lessons Da-Dunk Personal Owner's Manual exercise. I was inspired to create this exercise when I was Entrepreneur in Residence, EIR, at ASU. I had hundreds of students asking me how I created one successful venture after another, and how I was so happy and inspiring all the time. I honestly didn't know how to answer their questions. I struggled to pull myself out of being me and take a look at me at a 10,000-foot elevation view of me. How was I driving my days? Why were people around me excited? Why was everyone responding so beautifully to what I created? It took me a while to get to the right questions I had to ask myself, and to put a scientific and duplicable method behind my answers. The exercise I put myself through helped my student ventures at ASU keep winning pitch competitions, landing millions in funding, and becoming viable ventures. It also helped the EIR program thrive and win a couple of very big awards. Plus, I got to know myself better, and I became an even better mentor and leader than I was. Try it out, you'll see. It's on the website homepage. These type of methodical exercises that force you to reflect on specific topics and put your answers in writing have an interesting effect. It pulls you out of you, you become an observer of you, you get to know you better, then you pop back into you with a better definition and understanding of you. Let's chat about something fundamental, understanding the vehicle you're driving in life. Just like a car, your life runs smoother when you know how to handle it. This isn't just about steering clear of potholes. It's about making decisions based on where you are, what you're driving, and the road conditions. Paying attention to all 6 senses of context is key. When you master getting to know your personal owner's manual and this concept of multidirectional decision-making, you'll master life. By the end of Lesson 10, you'll have the playbook. Think of it like knowing your car's capabilities. You can choose to drive like a Sunday cruiser, or you can unleash your inner race car driver. A mistaken context is when you try to drive a junker like it's a Maserati, or if you decide to drive a Maserati through an East Coast ice storm instead of choosing the Hummer. Just remember, knowing when to take it easy can save you from a costly trip to the mechanic or police station, or worse, a meltdown on the highway of life. You also need to know what kind of fuel powers you up. Are you running on Red Bull and Dreams or something more substantial? Why would you pay for premium gas if you're driving a high-performance car like a hybrid Lexus that doesn't require high octane? Knowing what you need is the critical first step, but we don't come with an owner's manual. You have to write your own personal owner's manual. Then, it's a simpler matter of fueling up with the right stuff before you hit the road. And let's talk about proprioception. No, I'm not talking about some fancy yoga pose. It's your awareness of where you are and what you can squeeze through. We don't have whiskers like a cat, But we have other internal sensors and other criteria that drive our choices while we're moving around, living our lives. It's based on trust of others and written and unwritten rules. One example would be the weight capacity of a road, or whether your vehicle can fit under that bridge. Is it safe for us to assume most bridges and roads are made to safely accommodate us, while we also may not know the exact height or weight of our vehicle? I think it is, but your safety is based on living by these 10 lessons that drive life. Things like this shouldn't stop us. We should be able to trust basic standards of interacting with life, along with your ability to rely on your internal sensors. Can you fit under that bridge? Can you trust crossing that bridge? You also need to rely on the society you're in context. Have you created and gotten familiar with your owner's manual? Do your fears and levels of trust align with your surroundings? There's an art to being able to balance this. One thing that helps this is putting together your own personal owner's manual. Sure, you might feel the urge to override your limits and push that accelerator to the floor, but often you can achieve a lot without needing to push it to the max. No need to rev the engine and swerve through traffic recklessly, especially if there's a red light ahead. We all end up at the same light, but in different ways and with differing feelings. Who are you in this driving scenario? You'll see it's you in life too. This is not a typo. We all end up at that same red light, but in different ways and with differing feelings. How you navigate and how you feel through it all is all you boo. It's learned and can be reimagined. The reason I call it reimagined is because I don't believe we can easily stop doing, thinking, or feeling something that is destructive. I think change is best driven by replacing an old story in your head with a new one. As you navigate, keep an eye on your driving, what you're feeling and doing, and your engine, that's your body. If you're feeling worn out, don't just slap on a fresh coat of paint. Pay attention to those little signs of fatigue. Regular maintenance, like taking breaks and practicing self-care, can prevent bigger issues down the road. Do you know how far you can go before you break down or hurt someone else? Even minor dents and scratches can impact your self-esteem, so take care of those small issues before they turn into a total breakdown. Your life is your vehicle, and keeping it in shape means you can enjoy the journey without too many detours. Managing this with insight, grace, and care benefits you and everyone around you. You can be the one who causes crashes or not. When push comes to shove, it's important to stay aware of your actions and how they affect the vibe and success of your journey. When you value taking care of things as a routine and value nipping small issues in the bud, even before the check engine light comes on, you can avoid big issues and big expenses later stage. Even the scratches and the dings can build up and affect how you look and feel, and these small things can escalate into massive successes or debilitating situations. Living life without self-awareness of what keeps your engine revving and what can cause your engine to seize is like driving in a torrential downpour. It's a matter of pure luck you make it through without harming yourself or others in your path. I hope you notice that when you get your personal owner's manual completed, it helps you and others care for you just right. Next time you get into the vehicle you're relying on to take you where you're going, remember it's a complex machine with needs, and you're interdependent. Thank it for its brilliance, the fact someone created it for you, and pretend that the vehicle is grateful for your brilliance and appreciation because you would otherwise be irrelevant. It's relying on your well-being for its relevance and well-being. You can even name your vehicle, like Beyoncé named her alter ego Sasha Fierce. There are some things that are unwritten in its owner's manual, but vehicles always have owner's manuals because they're multifaceted, and each model is unique. So are you. Get to know you. Get to know your best you, your Sasha Fierce. Everyone has an inner best and worst. You can control how you're viewed by yourself and by others. What would you and others think of you if they looked at you right now? Does that answer align with how you want them all to see you? If so, yay. If not, what's stopping you from making a day dunk and start being that person? On the literal side of this lesson, I have a confession. When I was running businesses and interviewing prospective employees, I used to walk them out to their cars to get to know them. I was always interested in what they were driving, and the condition of their vehicle is what interested me most. For instance, one of my favorite employees who flew through the ranks was driving a very old Lexus with the paint burned off by the sun, but it was immaculate. I would interpret this as a person with ambition and willing to work hard to earn the new, sparkly Lexus someday. Another employee of ours, who was smart and hardworking, was very stubborn and stuck in his ways. He was driving an old brown pickup truck with a grandpa-looking topper. He was making a lot of money, but he chose this vehicle. I liked it because it showed his conservative nature, but it was strange to see a single young man driving that old beater. It was well cared for, so we hired him. We would walk away from hiring anyone whose vehicle was filthy and cluttered with garbage. I'll spare you the reasons why. My point is, you can clean up and change perceptions of you pretty quickly. Plus, when you clean up and become that person that takes care of things, you start perceiving yourself better as well. It's tougher to make a shift of that nature when you just hide all the junk in your trunk. You still have junk in your trunk and you know it. Lesson 4. You need to listen, learn, stay aware, stay conscious, stay current, leverage wisdom. Welcome to the wild world of driving, where the only thing crazier than the traffic is our ability to navigate life. To steer through it all, you need to listen, learn, stay aware of what's ahead of you, behind you, to your right, and to your left. Could you imagine the consequences if you were to go for a drive while you were sleepwalking? This is exactly why you shouldn't sleepwalk through life. Just like we usually get into a vehicle for a reason, we're all here in life for a reason. Depression happens when we sleepwalk through life without a connection to our purpose or without a destination in mind. Autopilot is neat for you and others, now and then, but sleepwalking, not so much. You need to listen, learn, stay aware, stay conscious, stay current, leverage wisdom. How would you rate your wisdom quotient? Do you learn from your mistakes? Do you get paralyzed or beat yourself up for wrong turns? Do you pay attention and learn in the best way possible? Does your life and choices keep improving with age? Do your joy levels keep improving? If you have a high wisdom quotient, no matter what, life gets happier and better. As you navigate through life, keep updating your standards and rules, your owner's manual. Just as you wouldn't use a paper map to find your way in a world of smartphones, you need to adjust your skills and techniques to match your capabilities, technological advancements, and the changing road ahead. Life isn't static. It's more like a long, windy road with changing conditions, and that keeps revealing new destinations for you. With all that said, we're all absolutely here for each other, not for ourselves. Here's my argument. If we were here for ourselves, people would build their own cars, pave their own roads, run their own gas stations, and then fold them up and put them away when they're done with them. Every time you hit the road and you see man-made things, remember that we are not here for ourselves. We're here to contribute our special flavor of magic to our society, which also has the ability to make its way around the world. We're also here to learn from one another, to build wisdom together. Wisdom means anything you've learned from experience. Think of wisdom as your trusty GPS, guiding you with the lessons learned from experiences. But look how most experiences require other people and circumstances, like following too close to someone and nearly rear-ending them. One of the best examples I can think of is when you're an American visiting England and you look left before you cross the street. That offers many layers of wisdom building, right? Now, wisdom isn't just for philosophers. Wisdom is a lot like rules in that even though we know something, we don't always follow our wisdom, and we don't always change our decision-making criteria when context changes. Sometimes we keep following others too close, even though we know not to, or we don't look both ways before crossing. Over time, your wisdom morphs into instincts, letting you make decisions as effortlessly as hitting the brakes when the car in front of you suddenly decides to audition for a role in Stop and Go, the musical. You know how it goes. One moment, you're cruising along, and the next, you're instinctively giving that extra car-length cushion, almost as if your body is on autopilot. In this scenario, please notice that autopilot and sleepwalking are not the same. Sleepwalking equates to living unconsciously and simply not paying attention. In our scenario, autopilot represents that part of you that has either learned a good behavior or a bad behavior, and it's ingrained, it's the subconscious taking over your steering wheel. Good decisions, much like good driving, lead to exceptional records. Think of it as your personal driving resume. On the flip side, bad decisions can turn you into a cautionary tale with drama all around you. It's like that one colleague who goes too hard at the company holiday party and ends up making out with that elusive girl from accounting. Everybody loves a good story, but nobody wants to be part of the wreckage. It's pretty simple, not simple. The key to a happy life involves two things. 1, giving to others in some meaningful way. 2, making great decisions every minute. Who are you in this scenario? Do you take the same exit over and over? Do you gravitate toward routine, but allow yourself to veer off track now and then? Do you always crave new and different? How does new and different make you feel? Do you simply take in the sights, or do you also enjoy contributing to driving things to the next level for others? Do you not hit the road at all? Do you have authentic tolerance for others? Do you default to blaming other people and external circumstances first? Are you fine with your answers, or do you want to develop a better version of your inner GPS? If you're ever in the mood to put a science behind mapping out your journey, look for Map Your Personal Journey on our website and see where it takes you. DrivingLifeLessons.com. A very big part of staying conscious is taking a moment like this to reflect on your magic, your emotions, and your actions when you're feeling or doing something. Growth comes from kindly celebrating constructive thoughts and contributory actions, or to reflecting on less productive responses to things and visualizing a better road for your soul and your magic. Have you noticed that when you hit a fork in the road, it wakes you up and you decide without panic? That's what these reflections are like. If you pre planned or decided on the spot to take a left at the fork and you're not happy with your choice, you can pull over, carefully backtrack, and take that right. Or you can keep going, but you'll need to deliberately decide to make the best of the road you're on, without FOMO. This lesson enables you to not let fear stop you from getting out there. I said it that way because fear is an emotion that protects you. We all have it, and fear is not a bad emotion. If you keep exercising these muscles of thanking your fear for trying to protect you and staying conscious, you are also giving yourself permission to keep learning and evolving. Now, let's address the donkey in the car, driving under the influence. For our purposes, driving under the influence means you're sleepwalking on the job. Staying alert and reliable on the job requires staying on top of maintenance. Cherishing your body and mind isn't just wise, it's essential. Your health and safety aren't just luxuries, they're your lifeline. Nobody wants to be the reason for a collision, whether it's a car accident, technical failures, or a full-blown existential crisis. There's value to letting your mind go and allowing your brain to drift away, but there's a time, a place for everything. With that said, remember, there's a big difference between autopilot and sleepwalking. This is another example of great decision-making. At a tribal level, they know to get high at night together around the fire. You don't see them getting high before the big hunt or a big journey to another village. Remember, every twist and turn on your journey provides a lesson in how and when you turn the wheel. So buckle up, keep your eyes on the road, and let wisdom be your guide. The more you learn, the better your instincts become, transforming life into a well-charted road trip rather than a chaotic bumper car experience. Now let's hit the road with our eyes wide open. You starting to see things a little differently. Whatever visuals are flying around your head right now is absolutely a direct reflection on how well you're going to do navigating through life. What's happening inside your mind's eye right now? You awake and ready to soak in Lesson 5? If not, pull over for a minute. Lesson 5, hitting the road to real-life learning. You have to actually drive to truly learn how to drive. You have to get over fears and be challenged, or make mistakes to learn. I hope you're not getting annoyed that I am saying the same thing in a different way again. In order to be successful in life, it 100% depends on how you see it, how you feel it, how you process the information, and the actions you choose to take as a result. That's a quote from my mentor, Erica Feinberg. All right, buckle up. Let's talk about a little thing I like to call actual driving. It's like trying to learn how to swim by only watching videos of dolphins. Spoiler alert, you have to get wet to learn, and you have to exercise all 10 lessons if you want to win any Olympic medals. First things first, let's tackle those pesky fears. Learning to drive is a bit like trying to jump into a cold pool. You might hesitate, but once you're in, it's all about figuring out how to float or flail. Decisions, successes, and mistakes are your co-pilots on this journey. They'll either teach you valuable lessons or become the punchline of your guess what happened on my driving test stories. The best example I can think of to get this point across is the time I was speaking on stage to about 1,000 CEOs. During the Q&A, a CEO stood up and asked me if I ever failed. My answer to that CEO and the audience was, if I ever failed, I didn't notice. This was an instinctual answer that just flew out my mouth. Once I said it, I realized that meant that I never let failures stop me. They were just part of the journey that got me to my destinations with success. Not only did I reach my destinations, but I reached them beyond my own expectations, and I reached each destination wiser and better than the last. Failures aren't what we think they are. Failures are not the end. They are like rubber bumpers blocking the gutters in a bowling alley that keep your ball bouncing back into the lane. As long as we don't injure or kill anyone in the process, we can only hope to learn as much as we can along the way and do what it takes to keep going smarter for the team. Building trust and confidence is crucial. Think of it like a three-legged race with your parents, passengers, bystanders, and most importantly, yourself. A three-legged race is when one of your legs is tied to someone else's leg, and you're both forced to run as fast as you can in harmony together. If you trip over each other too much, you'll all end up in a heap on the pavement. But when you sync up, it's pure magic. Your driving record becomes a scoreboard, showing how well you're mastering this chaotic game of life on the road. What's Life's Scoreboard? Life's scoreboard is related to who you have your leg tied to, the journey you pre-plan, and where you end up. Now, here's the kicker. You can't control other drivers. It's a bit like trying to teach a cat to fetch. Good luck with that. People will cut you speed past like they're trying to qualify for Tour de France, or they're overestimating their ability to text and drive simultaneously. It's always your job to get out there with everyone's well being in mind and survive and thrive like a seasoned road warrior. Keep your eyes peeled and your instincts sharp, all while keeping your destination in mind. You really don't know what you're made of until you face a challenge. When I was running a company with a big customer service organization, I used to tell them that we don't truly earn customer loyalty until something goes wrong, and they see how incredibly well we navigate through and solve the issue. Tough situations can either turn you into a jittery wreck or get your adrenaline flowing in a way that makes you grab your friend by the arm and run back onto that ride together. Once tested, you might experience what we lovingly refer to as post-thrill wisdom fuel. But hey, it builds character, and it can build bonds with others like no other. And let's not forget, learning to drive is an ongoing adventure. Just when you think you've got it down, boom, technology changes. One day, you're mastering parallel parking, and the next, your car is texting for you and driving and parking itself. It's like being a kid who finally learns to ride a bike, only to discover that hoverboards are now the trend. As technology and our surroundings change, we still need to keep honing our skills and developing new ones. In my opinion, it's never a waste of time learning something, because in the process, you learn more than data. It keeps your learning muscles exercised, and it also makes your world a little bigger, and normally sends you down a path of useful and thrilling coincidences. There's an art to this that always guides you down your best possible path. Your first ideas are often good, not great, and most first ideas are even terrible. I would teach the students, all disciplines, all ages, and all grades, that it's okay to lean into the squirm. Get your first idea out there and watch people's faces, posture, and listen carefully to the feedback. This is absolutely not comfortable, but it leads you to where you're supposed to go with the idea. If you take that risk and trust the process, take that risk with others, for everyone's benefit. Stopping at fear never gets you down that magical path. You want to visualize your plan with a clear head before you hit the road and get out there. There's an art to taking scary risks. When it's done right, you can shift out of park and trust your internal GPS. Fear keeps you taking safety measures along your journey. Detours always arise to build wisdom, and bold decisions steer you toward growth, not just safety. And speaking of adaptations, you need to be wise to the driving rules and styles of each region. What works on the quiet roads of your hometown might not cut it in the chaotic streets of Mexico City. Just as you wouldn't wear flip-flops on a snow-covered street, you need to adjust your mindset for different environments. The drummer of Rush, the great Neil Peart, who loved riding his motorcycle around the world, once said, "There's no such thing as bad weather, only the wrong clothes." What did I get from reading this quote from Neil? I read, "Life is what it is, how you live in it and respond to it is completely up to you." So here's the deal. Embrace the bumps, the turns, and the occasional detours. Every mile you drive teaches you something new, whether it's how to navigate a roundabout without losing your mind or mastering the art of the last-minute lane change. Wake up expecting disruptive surprises every day, and disruptive surprises will never take you by surprise. Remember, you've got the wheel, and it's your journey. Make it a good one. You see what I mean? The more you get out there and do and learn, the more risks you take, but the better you get. Lesson 6, driving is a team sport. So is life. All right, let's hit the road with a little wisdom about driving that goes beyond just turning the wheel. You see, driving isn't a solo act. Think of it as a well-orchestrated symphony. You've got the conductor, that's you, but there are musicians all around you playing their parts too. Whether you've earned your vehicle or someone's generously handed you the keys, you're never alone in this automotive journey. Let's break it down. Every time you hop into your car, remember that it's not just your skills at play. Someone had to engineer that beautiful machine, enable you to easily fill it with gas. They've paved those lovely roads and put up those signals and stop signs that often feel more like disruptions to your flow, but they are there to protect you and others. We're all part of this giant, interconnected web, like a massive game of cooperative Twister, where everyone has to be on their game to avoid a tangled mess. Now, here's where it gets real. What you do with your trusty steed is totally up to you. Are you going to treat it like a family heirloom or let it turn into a smelly, rolling junkyard? Listening to advice and appreciating the resources around you are both crucial. Ignore them, and you might end up as the punchline of a very unfortunate driving story. It's your choice. Be the driver who enhances the ride for everyone, or the one who makes it the nightmare on Elm Street. Let's talk about slacking versus being productive, or stealing versus earning. Imagine you've got two cars. One you swiped from the neighbor, not cool by the way, and another you worked hard to save up for. Which one gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling inside? Spoiler alert, Stealing a car doesn't just hurt the owner, it also leaves you with an empty pit in your stomach that no amount of horsepower can pull. Plus, it's terrible for your long-term plans, as you spend your life running from the law. This point circles back to self-esteem. We are all here for a reason, and we all have our uniqueness to contribute to the collective. Who's to judge when we are all uniquely purposeful? For instance, one might build the cars, gas stations, and roads, and others may just drive on them and consume the results of them. The reason I say non-judgment is one brings relevance to the other. We all need one another to help make sense of it all and to bring meaning to it all. We all have our purpose. Leadership and relationships are like navigating a vast, interconnected highway system down the highway to harmony. Every person you engage with, whether in business or life, is on their own journey, in their own vehicle, with a unique destination and pace. As leaders and collaborators, our ability to travel well together hinges on how we drive, how we cooperate, communicate, collaborate, and appreciate others along the way. Healthy cooperation is the engine that powers a shared journey. On the highway, no vehicle travels entirely alone. We merge, we yield, we signal. In the same way, effective leaders recognize when to lead and when to follow, when to accelerate and when to pause. Cooperation doesn't mean losing your lane. It means making room for others to move forward too. It's understanding that reaching the destination isn't a race, but a coordinated caravan. Collaboration, then, is our transmission. It shifts us into the right gear for every situation. Sometimes a smooth, high-speed stretch calls for rapid innovation. Other times, tough terrain requires patience and support. Great leaders know how to shift gears gracefully, drawing on the strengths of the team, like a convoy of diverse vehicles moving in sync. Collaboration turns individual horsepower into collective momentum. Effective collaboration depends on a leader's ability to adjust their communication style per each individual's needs, perceptions, and processing style. You don't want to clutter a creative brain by giving them a tour of the weeds. They want a journey through the forest. An engineer, on the other hand, appreciates the value of the weeds, with forest as the destination. Communication is our navigation system. Without it, we're lost, going fast in the wrong direction. Clear, consistent communication, like a trusted GPS, keeps everyone aligned, avoiding collisions and unnecessary detours. But more importantly, good leaders recalibrate when the route changes. They listen to feedback, reroute when needed, and ensure everyone gets the updated map. No matter who you're collaborating with, it's important to start with the end in mind. And yet, even with the best GPS, the road brings delays like construction, traffic, storms. That's where gratitude, faith, and empathy come in. They're the emotional suspension system, softening the bumps and holding the vehicle steady. The root of negative stress is when you hit the road with rigidity around anything that may disrupt your journey. When we express appreciation for someone's time, effort, and exercise patience around unexpected disruptions, whether a team member taking a detour to help or a colleague signaling a blind spot, we reinforce trust. Empathy is knowing that others' struggles may not be visible from your driver's seat, but are real and valid nonetheless. Faith and trust come from others seeing how you manage the disruptions, while you keep you and your team on course. As we travel the highway to harmony, the real measure of leadership and relational strength is not how fast we go, but how well we travel together. Do you give others space to merge into opportunities? Do you offer directions when someone's off course? Do you check our blind spots not just for our own safety, but for others on the road? In leadership, as in driving, we can't control the weather, the traffic, or every bump in the road, but we can control how we respond to others on the journey. We can choose patience over pressure, kindness over competition, and unity over urgency. The road to meaningful progress, professionally and personally, is paved with empathy, fueled by gratitude, and guided by communication, cooperation, and collaboration. That's the true highway to harmony. And when we drive that way, we don't just arrive, we excite and enlighten everyone we pass along the way. The breakdown happens as soon as people start abusing the road, abusing the car, or engaging in shenanigans with the amenities, or when creators create a bridge that falls apart upon impact. Abuse or conflict happens when empathy and appreciation for one another lapses. Have you ever met someone who lives life without giving a crap about others? This causes a total mechanical breakdown. One loose nut can cause the entire engine to seize, and society breaks down, in need of repair. In the end, driving is about community. You're navigating through life with a whole host of people, resources, and rules. So, appreciate what you have, listen to those around you, and remember, we're all in this together. You might be behind the wheel, but it's teamwork that gets you to your destination safely and sanely. So gear up, stay humble, and let's make the roads a better place for everyone. Lesson 7, buckle up, it's all you, boo. Ready to reset your navigation skills? Let's put the pedal to the metal and talk about driving through life. Because guess what? Every choice you make about your ride, from the ignition to the destination, is all you, 100% you. Think of yourself as the captain of a funky little spaceship, aka your car, navigating the cosmic highway of life. Lesson 7 is all about how you go from learning to taking over the wheel and getting out there solo. Sure, sometimes you steer clear of the cosmic potholes, and other times you end up nose first into a wall because of those pesky external forces. But here's the kicker: you still got yourself there, and now you're in the driver's seat of that chaos. So, what's your game plan? What are the rules for your vehicle? Do you have standards and expectations? You decide if you want that shiny new model or a trusty used one that's seen a few road trips. Are you going to lease it like a fancy outfit for a soiree, or buy it outright and make it yours for life? Maybe you're the rideshare guru, shuttling random folks around like a mini Uber, or maybe you're super selective about who gets into your vehicle. No matter what, the choices are yours. Now, let's chat about who's riding shotgun in your life. Are you picky about your passengers? Do you let them bring snacks and push your buttons? Or do you have a strict no shenanigans and no drama policy? It's like hosting a party in your car. Choose your guests wisely and set the acceptable vibe that supports your driving success. By the way, do you see how who you allow in your car and the rules you set for the journey makes all the difference to your happiness and success in getting to your destination? There's no difference between this and the standards you set and choices you make in life. You see how driving life lessons works? And then there's the question of insurance. Are you rolling the dice with minimal coverage, or are you fully insured, like you're prepping for a zombie invasion? Trust me, having a good safety net can save you a lot of heartache later. Do you glance around like a hawk, always on the lookout for potential road hazards? Or do you create a magical safety bubble around you, hoping it will repel all negativity? If only life had a force field button. I would argue we do. This force field comes into play when you drive fully alert, excited to keep learning, growing, exploring, staying connected, and playing the game to continuously develop your skills in all 10 areas. Life has a force field button, Erica Feinberg. So many choices, right? Sometimes it feels like life is a predetermined roller coaster ride with twists and turns set by the universe. But here's the secret. It's all you. You're the one in control, and your decisions ripple out into the universe, impacting everyone around you. We're all interconnected, like a giant network of online gamers. Think about it. Every time you make a choice, you're not just affecting yourself. Your decisions can cause smiles or create obstacles, traffic jams of emotions, and events that affect the people around you. It's a beautiful mess of interdependence where your choices can uplift or derail others' journeys. So as you cruise through this wild ride called life, remember, you're the driver, the navigator, and the one who decides whether to jam out to the radio or sit in silence contemplating the universe. Whether you hit the brakes or hit the gas, it's all part of the adventure. Just keep your eyes on the road, your heart in the right place, and enjoy the journey. Because getting out there and every mile matters. Lesson 8, your ride reflects your vibe. Your self-esteem, generational DNA, core beliefs, and success determines what you drive, what drives you, and how you're perceived. All right, let's dive into the highway of self-esteem and how it's all tied to your wheels. Picture this. Your self-esteem, family background, and those quirky core beliefs you've collected over the years are like the secret sauce that determines what you drive. Do you like the habits you're falling into, or do you want to break generational patterns? Yes, whether you're cruising in a clunky old beater or a snazzy new ride, your vehicle choice says a lot about who you are. Think about it. When your success is revving up like a turbocharged engine, your vehicle choices might evolve as you glow up. But if you hit a bump in the road and things go south, well, your vehicle might start to look like it's been through a demolition derby. Even if things get so bad that you need to make radical changes, I recommend you embrace it and smile while you rebuild. It just takes faith and some fun visuals in your head in place of the destructive vision of doom and gloom. For example, the Pied Piper only had the basics, like his feet and body to rely on, and a flute, and he started an entire movement. So can we judge a book by its cover? Absolutely. If your ride looks like it's auditioning for a horror movie, what does that say about you? Or if you're driving a gleaming Lamborghini, do you suddenly morph into the human equivalent of a dollar sign emoji? Spoiler alert, it's all about perspective. Ask any stylist if perception matters. Whether you're building a new life for yourself or you're taking things to higher levels, it's all about the condition of your ride and what it says about you. It's also all about what you give to the world and how your decisions and actions affect other people and communities. Now, let's talk about aspiration. Does your current ride inspire you to reach for the stars? Or are you stuck in neutral, comparing yourself to others like you're scrolling through Instagram? Are you fueled by the success of others, or does it deflate you like an old helium balloon? Remember, it's all you, 100% you. Your mindset and choices drive the car you're in, literally and figuratively. What do you deserve? Do you want to upgrade, or are you happy and fine as is? What do you need to do to get to where you want to go? Do you know all those answers? Mastering these questions absolutely help you live a happy life and live the difference between being and feeling happy and satisfied, but also being and living with ambition. Recognizing there's a difference between feeling content and being ambitious helps you master this lesson. You'll learn how to practice feeling happy and how to deliberately soak in lessons and contribute blessings to whatever you're currently wrapped up in, and simultaneously know it's one chapter of your bigger journey. You'll learn how to get the most and give the most of each chapter and how to keep moving forward, wiser. In other words, whatever you do, you'll want a beautiful and exciting story to tell about it as you look back, and you'll want to contribute whatever you can. So those people around you are telling their own beautiful and exciting stories because of you. Lesson 9, the rules of your road and setting your rules for life. Let's climb in, hit the gas, and explore the wild world of rules and standards for your vehicle. Think of your vehicle as a little universe, where you're not just the driver, but also the cosmic ruler. What does that universe look like? What do the people in it look like? Is it a pristine paradise or a chaotic junkyard? How do you rewrite the rules for a better life? First things first, what's your vibe when it comes to keeping things tidy? Do you eat and drink in your car like it's a feed bag on wheels? Or do you treat it like a limo pulling up to a luxury hotel? Imagine your car as a first date. Would you really show up with crumbs everywhere and a smell that could make a skunk reconsider? No way. Setting standards means keeping it clean and inviting, not just for you, but for any passengers who hop on board. It takes you and other people to make magic happen. This is one of the 10 critical elements that attract magic to your life. And what about your passengers? You've got to set the tone. If you're blasting your favorite tunes and tossing out chip bags like confetti, guess what? Your friends are probably going to think that's the way to roll. If your ride is a free-for-all, they might feel it's totally okay to leave their trash behind. This becomes your trash. Remember, if you don't set the rules, you're inviting everyone to treat your car like a landfill. It's not just your car, it's your space. Now let's talk about the more serious stuff. Are you lighting up while you're driving, making your car smell like a skunk nest? That's the passenger you'll attract. Nothing attracts low quality more than lingering fog, bitterness, and regret. You're in control, so make sure the atmosphere in your vehicle reflects the kind of passengers you attract. If your space is filled with fresh air and good energy, that's the passenger you'll attract. Consider this. Setting standards isn't just about cleanliness or what's acceptable in your car. It's about establishing a culture. It's also about breaking generational DNA. When you drive, you're not just navigating traffic, you're also steering the emotional landscape of your passengers. If you're calm, collected, and in control, your passengers will likely follow suit. But if you're frazzled, eating fries with one hand while texting with the other, you're sending a message. Chaos is welcome here. And speaking of messages, think about how you react when someone trash talks or leaves trash behind. Do you let it slide or do you speak up? It's all about setting rules and standards. Just like you wouldn't allow someone to park a broken down car in your driveway, don't let messy habits invade your space. You've got the power to create a respectful environment, so use it. In conclusion, your car is a reflection of you and the standards you uphold. So define it for your next chapter of life and live it. This is similar in concept to creating a vision board that shows you who you want to attract going forward in your mind's eye. Who's sitting in your car can make all the difference. Are you inviting positive, uplifting people? Or is it a revolving door for toxic energy? Think of it like a road trip. You wouldn't invite a backseat driver who complains about every bump and every turn. When you let someone into your space, you're also giving them access to your fuel tank. Life will always bring you down to the lowest denominator of your passengers. Those you look up to will lift you up. Those who sit and complain or puke all over your back seat will always leave behind a smelly mess. Pay close attention to the type of people who bring magic to your journey and who encourage turns you normally wouldn't take, and you like what you see. And let's not forget about the etiquette of riding shotgun. When you're in someone else's car, are you a courteous passenger or a chaotic force of nature? Your behavior reflects back on you, and trust me, no one likes a backseat driver who critiques every lane change. Don't give what you don't want to receive. The standards and rules you set for your vehicle and your life reflect directly upon who you are and your experience of life. Setting standards in life for every human on Earth is not the same as the standards you set for your inner circle of passengers and for the vehicles you get into. It's okay to let go of the strangers not living up to your standards. but be sure to transmit, practice, and enforce those rules and standards for your inner circle. Now, here's the kicker. Life is a risk, just like letting a stranger into your car. Every new relationship, every new endeavor is a bit like carpool karaoke. You never know if you're going to harmonize or hit a sour note. So be selective. Choose wisely who you invite along for the ride. You might find that there are some people you want and need in your inner circle for certain parts of your journey, but there comes a time you should pull over and politely let them out to make room for who you've become. Or you might take certain passengers on some types of journeys, but not others. Pay attention to context and who fits what when, or whether they don't fit anymore. Since your vibe is not predetermined and it's a continuous evolution, you'll have to master your ability to decide which friends and family and what strangers you gravitate toward and allow in your car, and how to best manage your current passengers. Plus, you'll need to master the size vehicle you need to accommodate your inner circle of passengers. Everyone's capacity to juggle and nurture that inner circle differ. Are you someone who thrives most with a two-seater sports car, a multi-passenger bus, or a midsize sedan? What's your vibe, and what's your future vibe goals? This circles back to creating and learning your personal owner's manual. And just like any vehicle and manual, it'll need intermittent updates. Reflect on what you want to set as your vibe, and think about how you can earn your way into what you want to drive, assuming you're the only person who would get in the way of what you think you deserve and what you think would make you happy. Just be sure you appreciate every millimeter of progress you make along your journey, even if you failed the marshmallow test as a kid. See our website if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Lesson 10. The value of the rearview mirror and finding the blessings behind the unexpected. There's a point you may need to let go of driving and still enjoy life. You may do everything wrong and lose your privilege to drive. You do everything right, and something happens, and you're not able to drive. Lesson 10 will bring you through how you get to the answers to: why are you here? What value are you supposed to be bringing? How to make it happen? Life keeps changing, so you need to keep mastering your dunk. I know this sounds morbid, but it's so healthy to stop and think about you on your deathbed. Will you regret that you let yourself obsess over all the things you didn't do, all the things you don't have, and all the places you never went? Reflect on all the things that would make you sad about getting out on the road and bouncing your reason for being on Earth against the world. Yes, Lesson 10 is about bringing yourself to the end of your journey, reflecting on it before you get there, and putting the time into mapping rules, standards, and a journey that will make you feel happy each step of the way, and when you hit your last mile. Everyone has their own map, and half the time, we're all pretending to know exactly where we're going. You might set out with a full tank and a sense of direction, only to hit unexpected detours or end up on a road full of plot holes that make you question every turn you took to get there. What truly defines you is how you behave when you're in the middle of a disaster, or when you need to figure out how to get to your destination once a detour gets in the way. Sometimes, life calls for a full U-turn, and that's okay. It's like taking the wrong exit on the freeway. Frustrating, but detours like this can cause disruptions or curious observation. It's a time for reflection. Reflection is our GPS recalculating, reminding us to pause, rethink our path, and maybe even take the scenic route. Mastering your ability to recognize when it's time for you to pull over, choose to stay happy, and recalculate is a precious skill set. The moral of the story is, if you've taken a wrong turn, it's only wrong if you lose it while you're lost. If you choose to stay on that road longer than you should in a panic, and if you don't learn anything while you're there. Life is one very big journey. Your success in life depends on how well you experience life while you're living it, how you act at all times, how you find the blessings in everything, and what you do with what you learn. And then, of course, there are those backseat drivers who think they know best. Maybe external influences brought you into a life you didn't want, or on a journey you regret. But hey, it's your life, your journey, and only you can decide when to slow down, speed up, or take that off-road adventure. Life, like driving, can be unpredictable, but a little reflection and the courage to replan means we'll always find our way, if not to the destination we planned, then at least to some amazing new places along the way. There's no such thing as the point of no return while you're still alive. It's just a matter of assessing all the tools you have at your disposal, recalibrating, and mapping a journey for your life that will make you proud of you in the end. I'd sum this up as planning and living life, no matter what terrible circumstances you may have driven yourself into, in a way that fuels your best life and your best contribution to life. This way, if someone asks you if you ever failed, you can tell them, if I failed, I didn't notice. Whenever you hear that da-dunk sound that your nav makes when you've made a wrong turn, your internal recalibration is no different than that. Your nav doesn't freak out. Your nav doesn't have a meltdown. Your nav stays focused on your desired destination, and it stays on to guide you based on the best route you should take, based on where you decided to bring yourself. We all have that innate capability to dunk. You can let your emotions get the best of you, or you can assess where you're at and perform the best possible da-dunk for yourself. No one can completely stop you from mastering your ability to reset your GPS except for you. The frontal lobe makes up 40% of our brain. This is our behavioral and emotional control center. I call it the pharmacist of our body. Da-dunk is the anti-venom. If you want to make changes, you need to change the fuel you're using and reroute your plan using the other 60% of your brain. Sometimes you need to change your destination, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just need to change the way you're getting there. Da-dunk, there might become a time when you need to hand over the keys and embrace a new way of getting around, whether that's walking, biking, or maybe even hopping into an autonomous vehicle. There's always a solution to the bind you might have gotten yourself into, or where life may have brought you. Picture this. You've been cruising down life's highway, perfecting your driving skills, your rules, your plan, and suddenly, bam! Life throws a curveball, and you find yourself grounded. Maybe you've made a few questionable turns, or perhaps the universe decided your vehicle needs a pit stop for a bit longer than expected. What then? Life has a funny way of reminding us that sometimes we need to shift gears, literally and metaphorically. You could have the best intentions and still end up on foot, waving goodbye to your trusty four-wheeled friend. And you know what? That's okay. There's a beauty in stepping out of the driver's seat. Imagine standing on the sidewalk, watching all those cars zoom by and thinking, good for you, buddy, enjoy the ride. It's a little like being at a parade where you're not just an observer but also part of the show. Now, when you let go of the wheel, it's not just about losing your privileges. It's about discovering new paths and avenues. Sure, you might miss the feeling of freedom or control, but think about it. Walking gives you the chance to enjoy the sights, smell the flowers, and maybe even find a taco truck that you'd have zoomed past in a car. There are always alternatives and hidden blessings behind disruptions. Life's roadblocks are not just annoyances, they're stop signs begging you to pause and reflect. Every time something goes wrong, it's a chance to refuel your soul, repave your path, and reconsider your route. Maybe you discover that the true destination is not about where you end up, but how you get there, and who you are, and who you meet along the way. It's profoundly important to stay calm and have faith that everything is going to work out if you navigate it like a pro. That word faith is key. Faith enables you to avoid blinding your magic with that rush of cortisol that happens when you work your way into a tizzy. That chemical cocktail your body produces when you face a challenge is triggered by panic. Did you know that jolt of adrenaline and endorphins and the antagonistic jolt of cortisol can literally blind you from being able to see what's right in front of you? It can also paralyze your brain's ability to think. When you manage tough times with faith, it's like your own personal pep rally, cheering you on to find a way through the mess, and you're leveraging the chemicals to energize and protect you and everyone involved. And sure, you might take a moment to look back at past experiences, like scanning your rearview mirror to spot that time you took a wrong turn and ended up in a cornfield with toast in your hair. Bad things may have happened, but actively putting your hands on the steering wheel with faith instead of hitting the gas pedal on panic becomes a skill set that defines your character, builds strong relationships, and allows you to also transform disasters into wins that bond you with people like no other. That approach builds wisdom and transforms potential failures into massive wins, my friend. Remember, it's how you manage these tough times that truly define your magic or your fatal flaws. In the business world, I've always said the best innovations show up right after the biggest oh crap moments. Life is so much bigger than we can ever imagine. I can't imagine someone is up there asking us to crumble under pressure. It's like watching a movie when you choose to run toward an empty, dark street with a locked chain link fence at the end. Imagine there's someone yelling at the TV, "Why did you run there? You should have gone the other way." Somehow, it's easy for the person watching to see. Try to think about what that person yelling at the TV is saying to you when you get stuck and want to run into that dead end and get shred to pieces. When faced with decisions, keep reviewing these 10 rules for life and channel your inner great navigator. Ask yourself, who am I? Where do I want to go? What am I here to give? And where is life trying to take me? At the end of the day, whether you're walking, biking, or just chilling on a front porch, watching the world go by, remember, it's not about your speed as much as it's about what you see, the joy you feel, the gratitude you stay focused on for everything that has been created for you, and the contributions you make along the way. So embrace the journey ahead with a smile. Know that you're the navigator of all that goes right and wrong with your travels, and fill your washer fluid with a little twist of happy juice. You're in for a wild ride. I'm assuming you're reading this because you love learning and growing. Message me with your epiphanies. Your stories are my fuel. You may also be going through something horrific, and you're hoping to find a quick and easy way to shapeshift your spirit and your life forever, and to find your control and bliss. I sure hope you've enjoyed the magic school bus ride through my brain, and you noticed that the science behind mastering this 10-part formula for your sustained success and happiness involves taking a moment to breathe, smile, and replacing old visuals with new ones from the outside in. Also, give others the time they need to stop and reroute. Give them time to dunk. They don't know what you know about the dunk method, so explain it to them and give them a moment. Here's the driving life lessons afterward. Driving positive changes in your life and body starts with the memories you choose to use as criteria. I hope the 10 lessons and these stories create new visuals for you to pull upon while you're behind the wheel. That's what it takes to drive change for yourself or anyone you might be leading or helping drive change. It also requires that you fully recognize that you are the writer, producer, director, and main character in your life, that you are driving every moment, every day. Your body and your life goes where you take it. We all fall back into old patterns now and then. The secret to healthy growth is to give yourself a dunk moment. Then, reroute. Do the same for others. Share this concept with them, so they don't think you're weird when you ask them if they need a dunk moment. When they fall into old patterns, ask them if they need a dunk. Wait in silence and see what happens. It disrupts the bad pattern onto a new route. It works and benefits everyone involved. When you find yourself tipping backward into the bad stuff, you need to stop yourself and look back at your owner's manual. Keep it updated and follow the directions. Stop, take a few deep breaths, recalibrate, and reroute when necessary. Dunk. You can completely redesign yourself, feel amazing, change your body chemistry, change your luck, and bring unbelievable energy to everything around you by learning how to create and abide by this new decision criteria. Here's a secret that helps you and everyone else. Share the day dunk method with others so you can practice the, rerouting, together, and profoundly appreciate the power of the moments you're standing there in silence. If you share the dunk method with others, whenever you say dunk to take a moment to reset your mindset on something, the other person will know to give you a moment. Dunk. You should do the same for others as well. Give them a moment when they need a dunk moment. This technique not only helps you break bad patterns, it also enables you to immediately break out of old habits. And it wakes you up into a new stream of consciousness that allows you to replace your old habits of the old you with the new habits of the new you. Eckhart Tolle practiced something called waking up. The best way I can sum it all up is this. When you're standing still, making a decision, or feeling an emotion, there's a part of you who is wrapped up in it with all the noise, emotion, and historical criteria. Then there's another you observing you. That you is not as wrapped up in all the crap. That you, hopefully, is looking toward your future you, and maybe even laughing at you. That you wants you to make a better decision this time with a clear head. That you knows what's best for you, and dunk wakes you up and pulls you there. That's the you who you can benefit from waking up to. Wake up, pull over, take a moment, and smile. Now it's time for your Driving Life Lessons AI assessment. Have you ever been on hold with, let's say, your bank, and it asks you a question, and based on your answer, it brings you the next step, and so on and so on? There are times you say something and it misunderstands, and you end up screaming at the AI bot talking to you. Well, computer AI starts out very stupid. AI systems get smarter with time based on decision rules. And as it misdirects you and you scream, it learns and gets smarter and better at guiding you in the right direction. Your brain is the exact same. It learns as it goes. Sometimes it doesn't improve with time. Sometimes it keeps making the same stupid mistakes over and over. One of the major goals of this book is to encourage you to use the checklist system and get smarter with time. If you decide you will, right now, you can, that quickly. This is one of the salient lessons I'd teach when I was Entrepreneur in Residence, EIR, at Arizona State University, ASU. This perception of fear is paramount for any entrepreneur to keep in mind while. Fear is an invaluable emotion that when managed properly, it enables you to create magical outcomes that even you never expected. It takes a type of strength that enables you to keep bouncing things off your audience until it truly resonates. There's an art to this that always guides you down your best possible path. Your first ideas are often good, not great. and most first ideas are even terrible. I would teach the students, all disciplines, all ages, and all grades, that it's okay to lean into the squirm. Get your first idea out there and watch people's faces, posture, and listen carefully to the feedback. This is absolutely not comfortable, but it leads you to where you're supposed to go with the idea. If you take that risk and trust the process, take that risk with others for everyone's benefit. Stopping at fear never gets you down that magical path. Whatever your jam is, I recommend you become the planner and navigator of your life from the driver's seat. I don't care if you write a play, write a book, narrate a movie or documentary about you playing this lead role in your life, or you just lead it. It's the formula for living your best life. When you can remove yourself from your ego and stay in your superego, that part of your personality is observing your behavior. That's the best way to skirt the dysfunctional noise and stay in the zone. Okay, now it's time to wrap this all up into a high-performance vehicle. We're going to talk about reality. I remember spending a semester of my master's in human dynamics learning the meaning of meaning. I rolled my eyes and thought, I paid tens of thousands of dollars for this? Of course, as you already guessed, it was one of the most invaluable semesters of them all. Everything we think, say, do, create, experience, give, absorb, feel, even when it comes to our health, is all driven by our mind, our environment, our perceptions, and our responses. Meaning is also a bit irrelevant in a vacuum. The meaning of this book and the dedunks you make depends on you, 100%. Let traffic and travel naturally remind you that we're here for each other and continuously reflect on the 10 lessons that drive your life. You want the keys to the da-dunk method of living and leading? 1. Decide whether you're ready and excited for this growth journey. 2. Read or listen to the Driving Life Lessons book. Learn the rules of our road. 2. Get to know yourself. The Personal Nav Plan Guide is on our website homepage. 3. Set your personal nav plan. That guide is also on the homepage of our website. 4. Set your GPS to where you want to go and get out there. 5. Actively practice the da-dunk GPS mindset. Stay flexible, curious, empathetic, and have faith you can make things work out. 6. Actively follow rules for the collective. We're in this together, to give and take. Set your new rules and standards. Leverage your superego and stay awake. 8. Continuously reflect on your NAV criteria. Set new habits with mindset, focus, and goals. 9. Build your wisdom from every journey. When you reach your destination, do it again and again and again. Keep your da-dunk magic flowing. DrivingLifeLessons.com. Learn it, live it, teach it, and please stay in touch. AskDrivingLifeLessons.com.